Welcome to the Honor It All podcast. I'm Honor Garrett, your host, and we're here to honor all that is good in the world. Each podcast, I interview top professionals from around the globe who are making a difference, impacting lives, and creating positive change. Today, we have David Perez, a successful businessman with expertise in management consulting, global trade contracts, and launching successful consumer brands. But that is not what makes David special. It is his heart and his philanthropic service that has touched and saved thousands of lives, coordinating the largest ever mass relief efforts after the 2010 Haiti earthquake and the 2005 Hurricane Katrina disaster in New Orleans. David was at the forefront in delivering 170,000 tons of medical supplies, food, and water to all those people in need. His story has been featured on the 2005 Biography of the Year. He's the recipient of the Southern Command Commander's Coin and Deputy Commander's Coin, awarded for his excellence of service. David has a passion and a mission to save a billion, not a million, a billion lives. What a heart, what a wonderful human being. I am so honored to have you here today, David, as part of the Honor It All podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing great, and it's an honor to be on the Honor It All podcast. Thank you for having me, Honor.
Well, thank you. So are you ready? Because we want to know all about David Perez and what gets you up in the morning. First, I want our listeners to get to know you. What makes you tick? Share with our listeners your background, your childhood, and how that might have shaped who you are today.
So my mother, who's still alive, 83 years old, and my three older sisters. That's what kind of drives me. And most recently, my beautiful children. I've had three children, 27 and 24, and my daughter, 13 years old. They drive me to wake up every day and make the world a better place for all of them and all the people that they love and all the people that need help. So a lot of people's voice can't be heard. So I like to listen to what people need in times of disasters, in times of crisis. And I like to jump into action and make a difference. There's nothing is too small or too big. That's the way I look at it. Being able to serve one person or a million people or a billion. I think it's all, in the Torah, we say, if you save one life, it's as if you save the entire world. So, I don't know if you guys saw the Demi Moore movie with the little bird that the signs, seven signs, the seven sign, which is pretty cool. So it was her baby once it's born, it was supposed to save the world. If not, the world would come to an end. But, there's a lot of different religions and a lot of different beliefs, but we can make an impact one person at a time.
Absolutely. I read the book, The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, but I think his name is Mitch Albom, is the author. And he talks about how you impact people that you don't even know. And when the person dies, he goes to heaven and he meets the 5 people that he really helped or really hurt without having any knowledge about it.
Well, you'll find this interesting. Mitch Albom's mentor, Rabbi Albert Lewis. Mm-hmm. We went to Hebrew school together, Mitch and I. We grew up in the same community. I used to go. Him and my cousin were in a band together, Victor, who's a doctor in New Jersey. But Mitch, his sister, Kara Albom, they're dear friends. And he did a great documentary on the Hallmark Channel with Dr. Albert Lewis. And he was mentored, and he was his best friend was Rabbi Lewis, who was a conservative rabbi who, when I came to the U.S. at the age of 7, took me under his wings. He not only bar mitzvahed me, but he also married me, and he's an amazing man. So Mitch and I we're cut from the same cloth, from the same rabbi, and he's just a beautiful human being, Mitch. I love him and his family, his parents. Everybody's amazing people.
Where exactly? Tell our audience where you're from.
The synagogue was in Haddonfield, New Jersey, Temple Beth Shalom. And I used to walk 2.5 miles because I was very Orthodox when I was young. When we came from Morocco, I was born in Casablanca, went to Montreal, and then we immigrated from Canada to the U.S. at the age of 7. And we lived with my mom's sister for a few years. And then We moved out to a kind of the hood in Lawnside, Barrington, New Jersey. And then I had a very abusive father who was very abusive to my mother and my three sisters. And at the age of 10, the police came and took him away. And so I didn't have a father for 3 years. My mother got remarried, and we spent a couple of years on welfare. And with the help of the community, we worked hard, all of us. My mother worked 3 jobs, and I worked at the age of 10 and a half, shoveling snow and raking leaves and selling seeds door to door. So I was a little entrepreneur at the time, because I would hire my classmates and I'd get $3-4 an hour depending on the people, and I'd give them $1. So I was pocketing $2-3 on every hour. And I got 5 classmates, and I decided at the very young age I would be an entrepreneur. And I didn't even know what the word was back then, until I graduated high school and went to Rutgers. I dropped out my 3rd year in college, and I had a very successful business at the very young age of 18 years old. I was in the electronics business for many years, and then I got into the cell phone business, and then into the software business.
I know that you've had some tragedy in your life and when you were growing up. Tell us a little bit about that story, because I know that probably helped shape your future.
Yeah, I did. Absolutely. I was in a tragic accident when I was just about to turn 24 years old, 1987. I was driving too fast. I was racing my car with some friends, of course. And I had a young lady in the car. Her name was Michelle. And about 5 minutes before the impact, she told me to slow down. She was scared. And I told her not to worry. And then I asked her what she wanted to be. She just had graduated high school the week before. And I asked her what she wanted to do in college. And she said she wanted to be a doctor and save lives. And 5 minutes later, she passed. We had a terrible car accident. I avoided to hit a car, and we hit a tree, and the car spun out of control. And unfortunately, she's not here today. And I ended up getting sentenced to jail time. I served about a year in jail. And as I was in maximum security for 5 months, I trying to figure out what to do with my life. And I contemplated suicide. I felt ashamed of what I had done. I didn't know how to make amends. And and then I decided that, the way to honor her and honor my family is not by taking my life, but having her spirit carry me through to do great things in the world. And I decided to honor my family and her family and do great things in her honor.
Most people might have used their life circumstances honestly as an excuse of why they shouldn't do anything, or why they don't have time to help, or they don't have the resources, or they're not worthy. But you've been able to shed all of that victim mentality and embody the victor mentality and help people and really pivot your entire perspective. And so how have you done that?
Well, it's by people telling you things are impossible. I look at the word impossible, that I am possible. And I do believe if your mind can conceive it, you can achieve it. I read a book when I got out of jail, a couple of years after I got out of jail, Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's really the only business book I've read in my life. That and the 5 Love Languages, which is more of a personal book, but I liked it. I believe if you serve with love and gratitude and an open heart, and you honor your body, I think it all comes together in your business, your personal life. And that book basically taught me about how to think with the end in mind, and seek first to understand before being understood. But most importantly is to, if your mind can conceive it, you can achieve it. Stop dreaming and get out there and start working and build it. To build anything great, or to do any relief mission, whatever the task at hand is, you have to visualize what success looks like. I always say, before you leave the house, you better know exactly where you're going. I tell my kids, I tell all the people that work with me, don't count on your smartphone. If the cell phone network goes down, there's an earthquake, you better have a blueprint, a roadmap of where you're going, your meeting. I like to fly out the night before for meetings, or drive, if it's local, I drive there. the night before. I see how long it takes me, and I know where I'm going. I never like to get lost. The worst thing you can do is show up late to an interview, a meeting, and always, take in consideration weather and airline delays. So I'm a kind of a logistics expert. I've had to learn that in order to succeed at business, because if you're in the manufacturing business, you always have to have a backup facility in case there's a natural disaster. It happens all the time. So, I've built many factories. I've built different companies, water companies, juice companies. And I always have a risk management plan in place to make sure that I don't get caught with my pants down and I can't serve the community and the people that count on me day in and day out.
That's amazing. And then you've also done so much help, with Katrina and Haiti. When something like that happens and you say, okay, I'm going to do something, right? I'm going to do something to help. Do you get overwhelmed at all? Or do you just get clear-minded and focused and all the ideas do they just start coming to you? Because it's just,
a lot of people think it's all me. It's not, it's teamwork. It's the teamwork that makes the dreams work. In times of disasters, when I've helped 3 U.S. presidents, I've helped the president, 2 presidents in Haiti, governors, congressmen all around the world, ambassadors. They call me because what happens is when, if you're a mayor or a governor of a city and your city gets hit by a flood, you panic because you lose all communications. So the biggest thing in all these disasters is people just don't know how to communicate. So that's where I come in with satellite phones. I come in with Blackberries. There's private networks you can lease that for Hurricane Katrina, we transported satellite phones in organ donor boxes, to get them through and just to get things in. And it was crazy, but we worked with business people, the business community, whether it's the Rotary Club, the Lions Club. We had a couple of billionaires at every disaster that I've helped that have helped me. And they're key, using people's Rolodexes in your business community, whether it's the CEO of FedEx, the CEO of a Fortune 10 company, everybody, if you send people an email, and that's all I did is send people email, made a couple phone calls, and everybody offered to help me. And that's how we got 74 airplanes. That's how we got boats and containers and doctors and nurses. You reach out to the networks and you just have to ask with kindness, gratitude, and have a plan. You have to have a plan, how you bring people in, how you feed them, how they, where are they going to sleep? How are they going to get back? Because people in disasters, they get burned out after a week to 10 days, especially when you see so many deaths, like in Haiti. A lot of deaths every day. We're seeing thousands of people dying. So you had to deal with those issues. But it's just a coordinating. And that's something that I do very well. I mean, I actually briefed the Joint Chiefs of Staff at Southcom. It was pretty interesting being able to do, various very unique things. Excuse me, it wasn't the Joint Chiefs of Staff. It was the commanders of each of the bases at Southcom. It was the like generals, captains. It was the CIA, FBI, the Coast Guard, the Army, the Navy, the Marines, and the one other service. I forget which one, but anyhow, the Air Force. Yeah, so that's why I got the commander's court, is when you're briefing all those different people. For when the U.S. pulls out of Haiti, I was able to go in and tell them what the situation on the ground is, and you get collaboration. You collaborate with these people, and I think that's the key: is collaboration in times of disaster is everything, because everybody needs something. It's people need food, they need water, they need sanitation, they need toilets, they need the most important thing that I do besides food and water is I get the kids back in school within 3 days. We pop up schools in tents. So getting kids a normal life, because a lot of kids lost their parents, their grandparents, they lost their siblings. So the children are the key, because the parents are hysterical and they're all worried. If you can get the kids away from the parents while they restore their lives, I think that's the key.
That is so amazing. I'm sitting here thinking I was going to ask the next question, but I think you just answered it. I was going to talk about the fact that, so my husband's a football coach, and honestly, leading a team is supernatural for him. Like it's so easy. It's his genius of leading a team. And I was going to ask you, what's your genius? But it looks like you as well know how to lead people and ask people and congregate them for a cause, because most people wouldn't have the gumption, the fortitude to actually just do it. It's pretty
at a very young age, I reached out, I guess when Steve Jobs had Next Computer. I had an issue with Next Computer, even though I was very close to the whole development team and Steve, and I loved what he was doing. But they charged me like $10,000 or $15,000, and I had an issue, and they wouldn't give me credit. So I told Steve, I said, "Look, I'm going to just dispute it with Amex." So for 4 months, I kept emailing the CEO of Amex. American Robinson was the guy's name at the time. He didn't reply, so I ended up calling his secretary, and every week I call up and I just say thank you and I appreciate it. And I was just grateful all the time. It'd be nice if he had 10, 15 minutes. Valentine's Day, I sent her roses, I sent her chocolates. And then one day I get a phone call from her. She goes, "Mr. Robinson wants to talk to you." He took care of the situation, gave me a full credit, and he offered me a black card to try, the Amex black card at the time. I learned something about that. That was an event that I said that everybody in the world, every door is open. There, you can go into any office building and you can go to the security desk. Nowadays it's security. Back in the 70s and 80s, I could walk up and knock on the door of a CEO.
Right.
And I used to do that, like every company I ever invested in, whether it's a Microsoft, Intel, I met Andy Grove, I met Bill Gates, Michael Dell. I get to know people before I invested in them, in their stocks. In the 80s, before I'd buy stock, I'd go meet the CEO, CFO, and I'd spend a couple hours. I'd take them to lunch. I invite them to dinner. But everybody's approachable. Be kind and write letters and just keep up. Don't give up. But every door is open. And that's why if you want to go work for a company or you want to go do something, I highly recommend persevere. Don't give up. That's the key in life.
What does success mean to you?
Success to me is self-love. If you love yourself, then your children, your family, your loved one, your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, they will love you. So success starts at home. I live in a 1,200 square foot house. I have my on the beach, and my family, we have dinner twice a week together, Fridays and Sundays. And there's always at least 18 to 20 people at dinner. But success is family. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to be alone like a dog. I had a very abusive father. He lived to be alone, and he died. I buried him a couple of years ago at 88 years old. But he died not knowing his grandchildren, not having any love, because he was a bad man. He never changed. He never wanted to be the human being that he should have been, a great father. He never told me he loved me, not once. I tell my kids 100 times a day. I write it and I tell them, and I tell strangers on my emails I love them, and I give them prayer hands and a heart. When I was in minimum security in jail, I went out and started hugging every inmate in the minimum security, and they thought I was crazy. No handshakes, hugging them. And I told them all I loved them. They thought I was crazy, but you know what? I built so many bonds there, and I hired a bunch of inmates when I got out. I rebuilt my company after losing everything. But family is key in life, because success is not about how much money you have in the bank. Success is waking up with a smile and being content that the people you love you, and they give you the same amount of love in return. Money comes when you do the right things in life. When you give selflessly and don't expect anything in return. I've been so blessed since I'm 11 years old. I've never had to look at the price of a menu. I've given my kids the best of everything, and we live a beautiful life. We're not billionaires, but we certainly have not been lacking anything in our life. We have food on the table, roof, and you can only drive one car, live in one home. You can only wear one suit. So I don't believe in excess of anything. I just believe that you live life, and if you have a little excess, give it to charity, give it to people who don't have that education, that didn't have the opportunity to learn what you learned because they were not given that chance to succeed. And there's a lot of people in the world that just, their voice. I mean, when I worked in the soup kitchen in Camden, New Jersey for 5 years, feeding the homeless and the poor, the best thing that I could do after putting out the food was listening to people's story while they waited in line and giving them a hug and telling them I love them. that was worth more than the food. They came day in and day in every night to come and get that hug from me. And I would give them words of encouragement, how they can rebuild and where they can go. There's so many resources for homeless and poor people. They don't know it, So I would tell people, go to Jewish Family Services. 70% of the people they support aren't Jewish, but they're in every major city. And that's the JFS, JDC, UJF, JNF. These are the people that have helped me in all my disasters to absorb people that I rescue, but also give people homes and give them food and put the kids back in school. So the Jewish community in the United States, which supports over 70% of the people that are not Jewish, it's one of the strongest backbones for helping homeless people and people, a battered woman, people that need to get their lives back. They help provide Section 8 housing, and they're my heroes because that's who we use. I didn't even know this, but my mother told me after Hurricane Katrina, that's who helped us when we were on welfare. So I love that.
That's beautiful. I also have a heart for at-risk kids and juvenile offenders. As a matter of fact, I'm in Dallas right now. And when we lived here, when my husband was with the Cowboys, we were involved in a project. It's called the One Heart Project. And it was to help at-risk and juvenile offenders, really giving them a second chance, because to me, they never really had a first chance. Most of those kids were, their parents were in jail and they had no role models to really help them make good decisions in their lives. So the fact that you helped employ some of those kids and give them those adults and give them another chance is, that's close to my heart for sure.
In Michelle's honor, what I do to a lot of the kids that we rescued from Hurricane Katrina, a lot of them I bought laptops like Chromebooks, and we paid for their internet. And in the 7th Ward, all over New Orleans, people have lost their homes. And for the kids, I got them scholarships at a university in Louisiana, a university that wanted to give me an honor, a doctorate. So I told the dean, do me a favor, you can keep the doctorate, but give me 4 scholarships for these kids. And they got 4-year scholarships, and it's great because they graduated. The other thing is, one of the kids I gave a laptop is a big movie producer in New Orleans now. And he wrote to me, when he got out of high school and said, hey, and I gave it to him, he was 12 or 13 years old. And he said, you changed my life. That laptop and internet access gave me information and allowed me to be who I can be. And I wouldn't be the man that I am without you, because all my cousins and uncles, they were all killed. They're all drug addicts. They were killed. Nobody lived past 25 years old in his hood. Whoever's listening, if you want to make a difference in somebody's lives, find a youth at risk and get them a laptop and or a smartphone, but laptops are better, and give them internet access. And there are so many organizations that will actually subsidize some of the internet and laptops. There's a woman in on our advisory board. Her name is Dominique Murphy, and she has this yellow box. She does a Kindle with 10,000 books preloaded, and they're like, I don't know, they're like $600-700, and you get 10,000 books preloaded on a Kindle. It's phenomenal. That's her nonprofit. It's called the Yellow Box. So you can always go there and help her out. I'm helping her as well. She's helping us. We helped her with her inflammation. She bought a product online. She heard me speak on Clubhouse. But there's so much good we can do with education, and that's what Nourish Me is about. By the way, we're here to educate people.
You continue to honor your mission of saving lives, but you're taking a different approach now, because now you're helping people live longer and healthier. So tell our audience about the company Nourish Me and why you felt called to create these products and what they are.
So my daughter was scared as I would go on these missions around the world where people were shooting in some danger spots of helping people in disasters. So she would watch TV. My 2 boys, they were really scared when they saw, me on a rowboat in New Orleans in the floods, and they heard people were shooting guns and stuff. And especially in Haiti, I was missed by a couple bullets in Haiti. So that's why we had to have the 82nd Airborne travel with us. It was pretty tough. The first 6 months in Haiti, it was very tough. So my kids got scared. So I had to figure a way to make sure my kids felt comfortable their dad would come back. And, I had some issues with my marriage from being away and helping other people. So I decided after my divorce 7 years ago that I should try to find a business that allows me a way to stay at home and help people. And I couldn't figure it out. But what happened is I got in another car accident. This time, somebody rear-ended me 5 years ago. And my daughter was in the car with me. It was Christmas Day, and we were right parked, and somebody didn't even see the car. My back was completely destroyed. I broke my back. I didn't sleep for 10 months. I was in excruciating pain. Every doctor, I had 3 opinions. They wanted to fuse my spine, put an artificial disc in, and I couldn't sit down or sleep. So I decided and by the way, I tried every medical method for 5 epidurals. I was on Percocets for weeks, opioids. I was on a morphine drip for 3 days. Nothing helped me. And then I started figuring out I love to travel. I try to travel around the world, standing up in the back of an airplane. I went to look for a natural remedy. I went to Asia. I went to South Africa, and somebody in South Africa turned me on to a product that brought me to Miami, that brought me back to Amsterdam in Europe. And there I met my partner, Dr. Michael Hager. And he formulated this nano-sized turmeric extract. And it's a lot of people don't know this, but turmeric is a fat-soluble molecule. And he's able to make it water-soluble, which gets into your bloodstream faster and quicker. I took 10 drops, and all my pain went away in an hour. And this is a miracle. So I said to myself, I was stunned. I just wanted to get on the roof and just scream out to everybody in my community. And then, I like to climb mountains. So I said, I'm going to climb on the tallest mountain and scream it out to the world. And I started testing this with family and friends. And then I asked if, we could start a company. We decided to start a company 4 years ago. And there's a bunch of scientists, MDs, PhDs around me. And we did a lot of research for, the first couple of years. And then we launched this in a beta for a couple of years. And then we just, on April 10th, on the Ben Greenfield podcast, we launched commercially on Amazon and on our Shopify website. You can buy a 3-pack. It's like $110 for 3 bottles. It's under $35 a bottle, $33 a bottle, something like that. And it reduces inflammation radically.
So do you put it under your tongue? Do you spray it?
So here we go. I could put it drops in a glass here.
Okay.
Okay. And you can mix it, or I could just throw it sublingually. It works faster.
Okay. And hold it under
and it's also good because if you have periodontal disease, any infection in your mouth, most people don't know this, and it tastes a little bit like vanilla.
Oh, wow.
You could take anywhere from 4 to 24 drops per serving. If you're sick, you want to take more, take it 3-4 times a day. Take it on an empty stomach with plain water. It's helped so many people. It's all natural ingredients. It's plant-based. We have a beautiful boxes. We have 3 flavors depending on what your problem is. If you have just pain, just get the regular version, and it tells you how to take it. It comes in a box over here.
Okay.
And it's got a weight. It tells you by weight how many drops to take based on kilos or weight. And you can just take the drops in water, put it under your tongue, and you can carry it. It also shows you the supplement facts panel. We put a little bit of iodine in here. There's vitamin B12 and D3. And we also put a little potassium in here. It's a great combination for women's health. If you're on Synthroid or any of those toxic medications, you can try this and see how it works. This is a dietary supplement. This one we use for professional athletes. A lot of NBA, NFL players take this. It's an alternative to most of the acetaminophen, ibuprofen, or Tylenol, or Bufferin, any of those aspirins that you take that have a lot of side effects. The nice thing about our product, it's all natural pain relief, but it reduces inflammation dramatically, very quickly.
I know that turmeric is really good at reducing inflammation, and I take it myself. But what's the difference? Because evidently your product is different. So what makes your product different than what's on the market? Because consumers are confused.
So the bioactive ingredient in turmeric, what makes turmeric special?
Okay.
It's curcumin, the curcuminoids. So if you look on our supplement facts panel, there are different types of curcuminoids. There are 3 different types. There's dimethoxycurcumin and bis-dimethoxycurcumin. And then there's curcumin. So the turmeric root, when you extract it, so most 90% of all dietary supplements that sell turmeric is just turmeric. They don't give you the curcumin. The price difference is about 33 times more expensive because it's only 3% of the turmeric root is bioactive curcumin. So when you're taking turmeric, you're only getting 3% maximum. In some varieties, you may get 5%, but on average, let's just say it's 3 or 4%. So you really have to take 33 times more tablets than you would if you took 3 of our drops.
Wow.
So that's the key. You really want to find, and that's why a lot of people take black pepper with the turmeric or curcumin, because it's a fat soluble molecule and they're trying to get it in the bloodstream. You don't need pepperine. We're the only water soluble curcumin in the world that we know of. Nobody else has a water soluble curcumin. So what we do with 15 milligrams, the science says you need anywhere from 300, 500 to 5,000 milligrams. So we get in your blood faster, we stay in there longer, and it works. So I recommend everybody try it for 90 days. Take it every day, 3 times a day with plain water. You can put it in the tea at night, in hot water, but no citric acid, no carbonated beverages. If after 90 days your inflammation doesn't recede, we'll give you a full money back for all, and you get to keep the product. Just call us. And that's our guarantee, because we know it works, and we have helped thousands of people. We've already given away over $3.6 million in 4 years of product to help our vets. Every time somebody buys one, we give one to the vets. These are military veterans that are suffering from PTSD and all sorts of chronic diseases, all based on inflammation. And you also get a good night's sleep. So if you're taking Ambien or any of those drugs to sleep, you don't need to take those drugs anymore. You can just take our product.
You were talking about, obviously, your product, Nourish Me, has better absorption. It's more bioavailable. And is it a nanotechnology of the delivery system? So can you explain what those terms mean to our average, the customer out there? So
if you look at the human hair, imagine that 1,000 times smaller than the tip of a human hair.
Okay.
So what you're taking here, the curcumin is nano-sized to 1 to 8 nanometers. It's tiny. It's developed in a proprietary platform that my partner, Dr. Michael Hager, he has helped. He's an expert in nanomedicine, and he's got research facilities. He's a professor of nanomedicine and photomedicine in Amsterdam and in Xi'an University in China. He's got over 20 PhD students that have been working on our products and testing these formulations for years now. So, the key here, the bioavailability, a lot of people don't realize, but curcumin is the most researched molecule in the world ever. It's been over 17,000 papers on PubMeds. If you go to PubMeds, there's over 350 human clinical trials. There's books written on it. It's got poor bioavailability, and we're able to, because it's a fat soluble molecule, we're able to amplify its API, active pharmaceutical ingredients. The whole pharmacokinetics, we have specialized the way it's delivered into the body, into the blood through the small intestine or sublingually. It's rapidly absorbed. That's the key. Nano size, it could be 1 nanometer, 10 nanometer. It's a macromolecular complex. So there's various sizes with the B12, D3, the iodine, the potassium. So it's really cool. We use a sunflower lecithin as well in the ingredient for phospholipid. So we mimic a human cell basically. And so this curcumin goes right into your cellular membrane, and it's basically carpet bombs your body. So we're hitting all of your systems, your digestive system, your heart, cardiovascular system, your blood. It's hitting every system, the brain, your brain, everything you could imagine. We're hitting multiple molecules are hitting all these different pathways that bring you back and restore your biochemistry of your body back to homeostasis, which is where it should be. See, a lot of people don't honor their body because it's the food they eat, what they drink, alcohol. You know, a lot of food's got toxins in it, preservatives, and that lines your stomach, and that's what you get leaky gut. And, you know, everything's absorbed in the small intestine or in your mouth. You know, very little is absorbed in the stomach. The stomach breaks a lot of things down to send it to the small intestine. But when you're taking a drug and a lot of supplements, the pH, the acidity in the stomach destroys most of the molecule. You're only getting like 3 to 10% of what the nutritional uptake, and that's all done in the small intestine.
Wow. Well, and I was listening to you talk to, I think it was Tracy on her podcast, and you were talking about how you manufacture it. And it was so beautiful that you were talking about, not only are you manufacturing it, but you're putting it in an environment. You play wonderful music and mantras and affirmations, and that, you know, everything is energy. So food has energy. Your product has energy. Like the future of medicine is going to be, you know, the advances in science finally catching up with Eastern medicine, right? You know, the natural, herbal, holistic remedies that literally have been working forever are now backed by quantum physics and epigenetics and all of that. So I love how it's exciting just to validate that everything's connected, and even how you think about your product and how you're manufacturing it matters. And so, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally. So how does your mission of Nourish Me kind of embody the whole person?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. And thank you for taking notice to that, because a lot of people don't realize when you make something, it's the power of intention. You know, of when you're delivering something for the human body to consume. For me to nourish you, I have to nourish your heart, your soul, your mind, your body, your brain. I got to nourish every part of you. It's not just giving you a pill and say, hey, this is going to help you with your inflammation. What we're doing, it's at the highest level. We start at frequency, sound. So we need to make sure that we're always honoring our bodies. And as we manufacture the product, we take great pride in being able to deliver the cleanest product. We have a certificate of analysis online. Under every single product, at the bottom right corner in the blue panel, you'll see not only a certificate of analysis that we test for pesticides, glyphosate. We also have 209 banned substances we test for. We test the ingredient before we make it, and we test it after we make it, the final product, before we release it. And we play music, 528. We have mantras that play with the music. And then when we bottle it, we make sure that the people that are touching the products, the bottles, the caps, the mixers, we bless everything. We say prayers. We want to give you something that's going to nourish your heart and soul and mind. And the only way we can do that is by making sure that everything is clean and there's respect and on how we handle the product and how we bottle it and how we package it and how we ship it. This is the only product, liquid turmeric extract in the world. Not only are we water soluble, but we're the only one that's approved by Informed Choice for Sports for Olympic athletes, professional football players, NFL, the NBA. They can all take this and never have to worry about getting caught for doped or banned substances, because this is clean. This comes from nature. It's the cleanest thing you'll ever find. 90% of the curcumin and turmeric products on the market are laden with heavy metals. You won't even be able to get a certificate of analysis from any of the companies. I've been asking the top 10 companies in the world for 4 years to give me their COAs. I can't get them.
Well, I mean, that's really important about the athletes, because even my husband in sports, they are told don't put anything in your body unless you know, because it's not FDA regulated, correct?
Correct. No supplements are FDA regulated. I can make a dietary supplement from my house, fill the bottle, and sell it on any website. Now, good thing, Amazon finally, this is the month, June 30th. They've given everybody a deadline. If you don't have documents to prove what's inside is pure and free of banned substances, you can't sell anymore on Amazon. I've been pushing a lot of big companies to do this, and they finally are. This is years it's taken Amazon to do it. They finally got it. And we got approved last month, by the way. So all of our products are on Amazon. So we're probably one of the first, and we were the second company on their transparency program. So, and that was like 3 years ago. So we go over and above. Every single lot is tested by 5 different independent labs, methods. And we take great pride in testing the product, making sure it's safe and clean. Now the product is been used by some of the most highest profile celebrities, athletes, and business people in the world. Deepak Chopra takes it every day. All of his all of his family and friends, they love the product, and his wife.
Him? Have you ever prayed with him or mantra?
Oh yeah. Deepak lives here in La Jolla, and he was on our advisory board for a year. So he helped us launch the first product. So he's a big believer in turmeric extract. He's a beautiful man. He's also a shareholder in the company.
I'm telling everybody, if you have pain or you just want to take better care of your body, why wouldn't you try it?
We're going to give you a discount code. I think we set up Honor 25, HONOR 25. Your listeners will get a 25% discount. And so this is 3 packs, $110. They get 25% off. We'll pay for the shipping. You try it for 3 months. And if you see a difference, leave us a review. Most people see the difference within a few days or a few weeks, but just give it 90 days. And if it works for you, like I said, leave us a review. If it doesn't work, call us up. We'll give you a full refund. You have nothing to lose, everything to gain. Our health is our greatest wealth. And I heard something from a young lady we met on Clubhouse yesterday. The issues in your tissues, right?
Oh, I love that.
Always issues in the tissue.
Well, it is. And it's made, even if, I'm into energy. And so you have a bioenergetic field, but when there are issues in your energy field, it manifests in your tissues and your body as dis-ease. So it is so all encompassing. You can be healthy physically, but if you're not mentally and spiritually healthy, your body's not going to hold up. And then the same thing, you could be spiritually strong, but if you're not taking care of your body, you're not whole. It all has to work together.
Yeah, brilliant. You say that. I was vegan for 5 months and I didn't feel so good. I lost too much weight, and everybody thought I was sick. Like they thought I had like some crazy disease or something. But I was able to beat a very serious issue. I had a tumor, and I was able to get rid of it by changing my lifestyle, by honoring my body. And I was juicing every day. And then I discovered meditation and yoga and sound healing. And then I shifted my whole energy field to a whole different level. And I didn't even know about these. By the way, I never believed in supplements. I thought supplements were BS because I saw a special on 60 Minutes back in the 90s about that. The biggest thing that clogs our sewage dumps in every major city are vitamins. Yeah, because people swallow them and they poop them right out. They don't dissolve in your stomach. So tablets are the worst. Don't ever buy a tablet. If you have to buy something, a soft gel or the powders. But tablets, they're compressing with such high pressure that most stomach acids and most digestive systems, they don't have enough time to break down in the stomach, and you just poop them right out.
And
it's crazy.
The pressure actually kills any nutrient that was in there.
Right.
Yeah.
You get what you pay for. You buy cheap supplements. People say, why are you so expensive? Yeah, we're twice the price of Tylenol or Advil, but we're safe and we won't kill you. There's 50,000 people a year die of Tylenol poisoning. People that take too much. Millions of people are affected, their livers, their kidneys. A lot of these over-the-counter NSAIDs are very toxic. So be careful about what you take.
And wouldn't you rather pay for health and quality of life than pay for sickness? Because you're going to pay either way. You just got to decide which one you're going to pay for.
Yeah. So Honor, listen, we honor our body multiple ways, right? Our diet is not just the food that we eat, it's also the what we drink, the water quality we drink. Tracy Dews has an amazing podcast on water. I've had 2 water companies and she debunked half the stuff that I was telling people that I knew. So I have to shift gears now. I'm learning every day. There's so much science that comes out about water and purified water and how it depletes us in certain types of waters. So highly recommend people listen to her podcast on water. But our diet is also how we breathe and the air we breathe and where we live. And this air that's coming in, I like to leave my windows open because I love the ions off the ocean. That gives me the energy to share with you my mission and my passion of helping other people. And that's the plan, is how do we touch 1 billion lives? But you're on a mission by you airing this podcast and letting people, hopefully this, when I'm telling them, will resonate with them, that will have this domino effect. Now imagine your body. When you say you honor your body and your name is Honor, and you're in great shape and, you're fit, I could look at your skin. I can tell if somebody's inflamed by just looking at their skin and under their eyes. So honoring our bodies, also our diet, is also the people we surround ourselves with. You surround yourself with toxic people, negative people, people that are alcoholic or drug addicts, you're going to be just like them. It's going to rub off on you. So even if you have a family member that's toxic, stay away. Your diet is also your mindset, how you think. It's all about controlling what you put in your body. I will say the first potato chip tastes the same as the last. The first French fry, same as the last one. You don't need to eat like a gallon of ice cream. My daughter and I have 1 pint lasts 2 weeks. We take 1 teaspoon before we go to bed, and that's our sweet tooth. You could have 1 little nugget of a chocolate bar. You don't need to eat the whole chocolate bar. Everything in moderation. And that's mindset. That's discipline. Getting up, going to the gym. Bodybuilders wake up every day. They have a routine. You have to have a ritual life. Pray before you get out of bed. Thank God for your health. Self-love. Live with an open heart. Live with gratitude. Say thank you and tell people you love them. Use a heart. Use a prayer hand. By the way, I learned that from Deepak Chopra. The heart and the prayer hands. Every time he sends me a text or an email, he puts a heart and prayer hands. And I'm like, oh man, you must really love me. I'm like, you know what? I started doing it and everybody loves it. It's like, it started propagating. And I love about that. And I told somebody my first day on Clubhouse, I was talking about my life story. And I said, I finished up. I said, there was like 1,200 people in the room. I said, I want everybody here, whoever you're not talking to, a brother, a sister, your mother, whoever you've held a grudge with, whoever you're upset, whoever your business partner, whoever did you harm, I want you to call them up or send them a text and tell them you love them, and put a prayer hand if it's a text or an email with the heart. The next morning, I got an Instagram, a DM. This guy, his name was David too. And he says, David, I hadn't talked to my mother in 12 years. And we both broke down and cried. And I love my mother and she loves me. And he brought tears to my heart. And he says, David, you have no idea. Those words, how you finished up I was like a 10-minute, I was supposed to talk for 2 minutes. I talked for 10 because I love to talk. And I have so much to share. And there's so much goodness that I've learned from people like David, people like you, and you just want to get it out there and you want it to resonate. If the story is exciting and it's intriguing and it's true, you can make a difference in the world. And just because bad things happen to good people, it doesn't mean that you have to take your life or take drugs or drink alcohol. you can turn it around and take those bad things and make something great out of it.
David, I know there are people out there in the audience listening to you today, and they're struggling. And it may be physical pain, it may be a health condition, they might have lost a job. Is there any just advice that you'd want to share with them?
The best advice I can do is I'm not going to try to sell you on anything that I have. I want to sell you on you. So change your mindset, honor your body, and you are what you eat. Food is medicine, medicine is food. Most of the stuff you buy at the grocery stores and just about most of the drugs that are out there, they have lots of side effects. All you got to do is read the side effects. It's all online. We also have a powder product that has over 450 phytonutrients that's great for brain and immune health. It's amazing. It's got chelate, some silicate clay in there, aloe vera, rice bran, and there's also Mexican yam powder. There's IP6, there's NAC in there, tart cherry powder. It's like a superfood all in one jar. It's got vitamins, the cofactors, minerals, amino acids. It's got everything you could imagine in one little thing. And my mother came back to life with that product and our turmeric extract at 81 years old. For the last 2 years, she's changed her age by 20 years.
This is promising because I work and talk with a lot of NFL wives whose husbands now are suffering from brain trauma and CTE and literally pain all over their bodies because they played and they're beaten up in the NFL. And I'm always trying to serve them and help give them, examples of things that they can do, how they can take care of themselves, how they can take care of their husbands. They're
missing out on this. People are suffering every day and people commit suicide. Like Junior Seau was a dear friend of mine, and I supported him. He supported me. And unfortunately, he committed suicide because of his brain. He had a traumatic brain injury. I wish I had these products back then. I didn't have the company back then, but we got to get this to the world, and your help is great. But the way, people can honor themselves, eat clean and know what you put in your body.
No, thanks for that share. I just wanted to make sure that our audience knew, because a lot of people will go, oh, well, this product has this in it. And what you don't realize is, unless you see the testing and the potency and the purity, you really don't know what you're getting. And that's why I think everyone should try Nourish Me, because you have nothing to lose. So
right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, and I really appreciate our time together. This is you're one of those amazing, interesting people. You've done so many things, and the underlying theme in your life is that you give and you help people. So I want to help you on your mission to, impact 1 billion lives. So anything that I can do, I'm happy to help you. And if
Thank
there's
you.
any last words you want to say, please do.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to your audience and thank you for honoring your body. I mean, and if anybody needs a little push, we're here as your policy, but you don't really need me. What you need is yourselves. You need to change your mindset. And, we're so many people in America are obese, and they just are, people drink alcohol for a reason. They want to, forget, and they feel they think that, escaping reality is a way of dealing with the stress that we have to deal with every day. Stress is a killer, and it causes cancer. And I definitely recommend that if you could just change your mindset, honor your body, and everything in moderation. And if you need a little help, we're here at Nourish Me to help you. The most important thing everybody can do with this podcast is forward this to 5 or 10 people that they love, because if they hear what it is to honor our bodies and how to honor our bodies, then we can make a change here. And so again, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to sell you on yourself. Change your mindset and lead with love and gratitude, and everything will come to you. Everything you manifest will come to you. Wake up early and sleep well. And I love you, and I love all your audience. That's all your listeners out there. So thank you for giving me the pleasure to share with you what drives me every day, to help others, to give back. And, you hear this all the time. The secret to living is giving. A few people say the reason for living is giving. There's so many reasons for living, but if you want to achieve success, start with your family first. Now, my idea of a billionaire is touching 1 billion lives. That's impacting 1 billion lives, not how much money I have in the bank. But that's what I want to do, is I want to touch 1 billion lives. And thank you for your listeners and you giving me that opportunity and the chance to get there. And I think together, the teamwork makes the dreams work, and we'll get there. Thank you.
Absolutely. Mic drop. That's wonderful.
Namaste.
Namaste to you. Thank you. You just summed it all up, and it's really about gratitude, and it's about forgiveness, and it's about love. And thank you so much for being on this show. And thank you, audience, for being here and listening. And I hope that you've gotten value out of this. I certainly have. And I will see you on the next episode of Honor It All podcast. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
My pleasure. Thank you.